I'm not even sitting down to eat this. It's so good. These are my sourdough bagels. Let me take you back to yesterday and show you how I made them. We're gonna make my bagel recipe today in my UniPro spiral mixer. I had to look up my own recipe. Instead of using half all-purpose and half bread flour, we're gonna use this flour, Central Milling's new Great Northern flour, which combines the strength of both. So essentially, I think it has 12 point something% protein in it. And that means that instead of having to use two flours, I'm using a flour that makes the blend, which is really cool. So 370 grams of water. Again, it's not hot. I'm just using this because it's how I get my water down here. 350 grams starter. Don't know actually if I have enough. Yeah, I do. Perfect. Again though, I've showed you. If you don't have enough, you can make it with less. Your bagels will be smaller because you don't have as much volume. You didn't mix as much, but you can totally just have less. Then we're gonna do salt. Okay. The flour. I've been using this flour, testing a bunch of stuff with it. I really like it. All of the flour at Central Milling is organic, which I love. Now we're gonna do some malt powder. Helps with enzymatic activity, which means it helps speed up fermentation, which is great for recipes that are lower hydration because the yeast can't move as fast with less water and it takes longer to ferment. So using malt in this recipe helps speed it up. So we have the levain, we have the flour, we have the water, we have the salt and the malt. We're not adding the oil in right away. We're gonna add that in a little bit later so we don't put as much stress on the gluten. We're gonna let the gluten form before we add the oil because the oil can coat the flour and then it kind of keeps it from fermentation. I'm mixing it at 50% and I'm gonna set the timer for 2 minutes and then I'm gonna wipe down the sides to make sure all the flour is incorporated, and then I'm gonna mix it again for another couple of minutes, let it rest, and then I'm gonna add the oil. So now I've already mixed it. I've left it to rest for 10 or 15 minutes before adding the oil, and now I'm gonna add the oil. Hi, so it's been, I want to say like 6-7 hours. I'll put actual timestamps on this video, but I haven't checked. I went out all day, I got back. I put this in the fridge for like an hour because I wasn't ready to shape. Now we're gonna form this all into cute dough balls. Actually, I'm gonna put it on the scale because once again, I forgot how much each dough ball is supposed to be. Ooh, it's floofy. 15, 12, yeah. Let's make them 120. I literally never get it right on the first shot, like ever. Maybe some people who do this every day in their lives do. We're looking for 12. Obviously, if you see my recipe, you don't have a lot of people in your house and you're crazy and you're not gonna eat a bunch of bagels that are fresh. You could just make half the recipe and make 6. But I suggest that you just make 12 because they're bomb. And they're not like a lot of work, but they're work. So save yourself the extra hassle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, 11, 12. It's like, this is my own recipe and I can't remember how big the balls are supposed to be. Okay, it's extra. Doesn't matter, I'm making it for my house. So, I can do both hands at once. Because, you know, I'm a pro like that, but my right-handed ones are much crappier than my left. Okay, once you've rolled them, you gotta let them sit so that they can be stretchy when you poke the hole. For a really long time, every time I made bagels, they did not have a hole after they came out of the oven. And, you know, that's what a bagel is. The hole. So, you gotta have the hole. Stop saying the hole. Okay. Lefties are better than righties. By that, I just mean my dough balls, but really we are better. Ooh, I'm herky right now. On fire. Probably because I'm tired and I don't feel good. So I'm feeling a little weird. Feeling a little weird. Okay. There's 12 balls. Way too many balls than you ever need unless it's gonna be bagels. Okay, I'm gonna leave these probably for like an hour. I'm gonna cover them with a clean kitchen towel and then we're gonna poke a hole. I'll show you how that looks. And we're doing live stream. It's getting dark. Let me turn on the light. Okay, these have been resting for almost an hour. Use this or they'll stick. It's given the bottom time to relax and the top. Put your fingers in the very middle of it. Stretch it out more than you think and then put it down. You want to try to get that hole in the middle and keep it as even as possible, but you know what? Like this one, it's not very even. That's all right. I find that if I don't roll it around like I did before, like I just showed you, I just pull on it, a little bit of an easier time keeping it even. And you want to make the bagel hole bigger than you think because these are going to puff up overnight. I hear my child coming with the drama. There's one.
I just want to watch you make them. Can I?
Yes, but I don't want you to be in the video because I don't show you online.
I'm not gonna be in the video. I'm just gonna watch.
Well, I'll have to bleep out your little face. I'm not very good at making them this way, so I'm gonna go back to my other way. I'm gonna let these sit overnight. Yes, I know that seems crazy, but it's cold in here. They're gonna nicely ferment. See you in the morning. Okay, it's the next day. When I got up this morning, the bagels were super puffy. I'm a little worried they're over, but we'll see. I brought sesame seeds, baking soda, and honey, which is what I'm gonna put in my water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little baking soda in the water. My nose.
Are you making bagels?
Yep. So one thing that's kind of annoying about bagels is that you don't really want to take them straight out of the water and put them on your baking sheet. You have to kind of set up a drying station. So I have my boiling water. I have a cooling rack over another sheet pan, and I'm going to put them on that cooling rack for just a little while before I put them on the pan. Also, with this recipe, It's really hard to move the bagels. That's why I've put in there that you create these nifty little parchment paper. Yeah. These are not the prettiest bagels I've ever made, but we're still gonna enjoy them. And make sure that your water is at a boil before you put them in. Water is boiling. Okay, so we're gonna plop the bagels in and we're gonna let them boil on each side for approximately 30, 45, 60 seconds. The longer you let them boil, the more chewier they will be. The more chewy. More chewy. Okay, now I like to use two things. Tongs to pull the parchment paper off. I usually wait 30, I let it boil as long as I want it to go on the parchment paper. And then I take this out. And sometimes I can, like that one I flipped as I was taking the paper off. If it doesn't want to really go with the paper, oh, that one worked too. But the first one, it slid off the paper before I got to flip it. So I take this guy and I just flip it around, careful. And then it's gonna go from the water to this. Let it drain for a couple minutes. Well, maybe like a minute. It doesn't really matter that much as long as it's not going straight, like super watery onto your baking pan. When it's super watery, I find that it kind of messes with the bake. It has like this pool of like weirdly, I don't know, it's just kind of odd. So I don't like to let it do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this. Right now it's upside down, so I'm gonna flip it. I'm basically just gonna let those guys sit while I put the next round in. I did not do a good job. These are some ugly bagels. Yeah, they're actually pretty ugly. All right, let those go a little longer. You notice I'm not really paying attention. You can use a timer to make sure it's long enough. If I'm baking this for customers, which I don't usually make bagels for customers, they're too pain in the butt for me. And I also don't have a burner in my bakery space, so I can't boil them up down there. So coming up and down, not doing that. But if I were making it for customers, I would actually time the amount of boiling that I'm doing, but I'm just going by feel here. It's just for my family. All right. Don't burn. And then I'm gonna put them on this. You can bake them on parchment paper. I'm only doing this because my oven is terrible and it only heats from the bottom. So if I don't do this, then it burns the bottom if I just use parchment paper. Okay. Here. I'm gonna do my last 6 and I'll show you how I sprinkle with sesame seeds. Put them in the oven, I'll show you all of that, but they're like really flat. I'm worried I overproofed them, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna pop this first round into the oven before I'm done with the second 6 because I don't want them to sit any longer. I'm worried they're over. Okay, so for sesame seeds, I just like to sprinkle them all over the top. I usually do that on my cookie sheet because then the excess just go on the bottom. And then I'll put a little bit on my baking sheet too, so that it goes like underneath them. It's just my husband who wants sesame ones. I like plain, so do the kids. So I usually make him 3 of the 12. My last little batch is ready here. There'll be a couple sesame seeds on these, that's all right. Ooh. Make sure you also have enough water in your pot, because if it's too low, it's really hard to get under the bagels, and then you end up kind of hitting them when you take them out. I make that mistake all the time. Various family members have already eaten quite a bit, but I want to show you what they look like on the inside. They're over fermented. You know, my oven up here is the worst, so it's like burned down here. I prefer baking these in my Simply Bread oven, but I'm not going to turn on a huge, nice, beautiful oven for 2-hour preheating for a batch of bagels for my house. So it's ridiculously soft. Super crispy. Take a bite without anything on it. I'm gonna put some cream cheese and tomatoes on mine, maybe some pickled red onions. Hope you try this recipe.